Hey everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week, HBOMax and Warner Brothers have released a trailer for Zack Snyder's Trilogy in the DCEU, which includes Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and of course Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's been a bit of controversy about this trailer, so I'd like to take a look at it and see what I think about it and then discuss the controversy after we've watched it. So let's check it out. Here we go. Man of Steel is so underrated in my opinion.
You're not just anyone. You're here for a reason.
There's such good dialogue in these movies.
And even if it takes you the
really
rest
is.
of your life, you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is.
Man. Good visuals too. Zack Snyder has always had great visuals in his movies. Always.
He always believed you were meant for greater things. And that when the day came, your shoulders would be able to bear the weight.
What if a child dreamed of becoming something other than what society had intended for him or her? What if a child aspired to something greater?
My son was in the bus. He saw what Clark did.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
There's more at stake here than just
Maybe.
our lives, Clark. You have to keep this side of yourself
Kevin Costner was
secret.
great
How do you find
as Pa
someone
Kent.
who has spent a lifetime covering his tracks?
It
You've grown
comes
stronger than
Diana.
I ever could have imagined. Keep testing your limits.
20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
I have so many questions. Where do I come from? Why did you send me here?
You're as much a child
It's a trip
of Earth
down
now
DC
as
Lane
you are
here,
of
isn't it?
Krypton. You can save them. You can save all of them.
It's surprising to me that more people are not a fan of the DCEU films.
Surrender within 24 hours, or watch this world suffer.
One day, you're gonna have to make a choice. A choice of whether to stand proud in front of the human race or not.
Nice.
Can you imagine how people on this planet would react if they knew there was someone like this out there?
Men fall from the sky. The gods hurl thunderbolts.
Oh, again, good line.
Thousands of people. He has the power to wipe out the entire human race.
You're gonna go to war. He is not our enemy.
Bruce, please. Tell me, do you bleed?
You will.
100 years ago, I walked away from mankind.
Did you
From a
though?
century of
There
horror.
was a time in 1980s that
Men made a world where standing together is impossible.
Superman was never real. Just the dream of a farmer from Kansas.
that's the one scene I hated in Man of Steel.
We fight. We kill. We betray one another. But we can do better. We have to.
Oh, I love that.
I love you.
No.
Boom.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
Just the iconic
bell's been rung.
imagery here.
The god is dead. And they've heard it.
I failed him in life. I won't fail him in death. We have to stand together. Help me find the others like you.
There it is.
In time, they will join you in the sun.
Man.
In time, you will help them
Accomplish
accomplish
wonders.
wonders.
Yep. Is that it? Yeah. So, again, the controversy with this is there is a line that shows up on the screen that says the completion of Zack Snyder's trilogy. Obviously, if you know the story of Zack Snyder and his Justice League and his DC history with Warner Brothers in general, you know that this was never meant to be a trilogy. Zack Snyder's original vision had Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, and then at least 2 more Justice League films, Justice League 2 and 3, with, you know, multiple films in between, like a Ben Affleck Batman, a Deathstroke movie, a Cyborg film, and many other projects that were in development, including New Gods, and a lot of things that were going to tie into Darkseid and everything that we got in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that's not a major spoiler. Darkseid was in the trailer, so it's not, you know, I'm not ruining anything here. But Warner Brothers have come out and said that they have no intention to follow up on this series with Zack Snyder's vision, which I mean, again, I semi-understand it, because, you know, Man of Steel, while a success, made, like, I think it was like $800 million or something like that, but it wasn't Marvel money. BVS, same sort of situation. It was a, you know, Captain America Civil War type film where Batman versus Superman, 2 of the most iconic characters in DC history, finally fought each other, and then they introduced Wonder Woman in it. Didn't break $1 billion. And then, of course, by that point, Warner Brothers got cold feet. And they decided they didn't want to continue this route anymore because it just wasn't making the money that they wanted. And critically, the films didn't, you know, garner the success that some of the Marvel movies were getting as well. But Marvel has some slips as well, and they don't always get, you know, 100% critical acclaim. So by the time Justice League come along, there was a lot of, you know, apprehension on the studio's part, and they eventually moved away from Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder also had a family tragedy, which, you know, took him off the film, and they hired WB hired Joss Whedon, the original Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron director, to come in and fix Justice League. Well, what resulted was a catastrophe of a film that most fans absolutely cannot stand. And, I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. It's not good. But I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, there was some stuff in there that I really... I'm really glad that the Zack Snyder cut corrected, as in, like, making Flash better, adding Darkseid, actually... you know, completing and putting in the entire Cyborg backstory, which is something that the theater or theatrical cut completely omitted, which, you know, didn't, you know, make Ray Fisher a happy camper or anything like that. So, I mean, I understand both sides of this to a degree. However, Zack Snyder's Justice League was the superior cut. I understand the studio also, you know, from their point of view, they're not going to want to release a 4-hour, 3-hour, 3.5-hour cut in theaters. They wanted it to be around 2 hours. But by cutting BVS Dawn of Justice, it just, you know, it was about 2:20, 2:30 in theaters, they ended up cutting out vital parts of that film, which made it better, because when the Ultimate Edition came out, that film is actually better than the theatrical cut. So Zack Snyder, you know, had his work butchered on Justice League, and that 4-hour cut, yeah, granted, that's too long, but when you see it, Man of Steel, BVS the Ultimate Edition, and Zack Snyder's Justice League in its entirety, it's a great trilogy. But again, the controversy with this is, it was never meant to be just a trilogy. WB and HBOMax want DC fans and the fans of the DCU to forget this happened. And it feels like I mean, I understand they want to move on and try other things and probably reboot with the Flash film in 2022 and all sorts of stuff, and move on with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. And they're probably going to recast Ben Affleck. They're probably going to recast Henry Cavill, and definitely probably going to recast Cyborg after he's had, you know, his run-ins with the studio heads. I don't think that this is the right move. I think what Zack Snyder's Justice League, his cut, what it did well was set up potential for the future. Now, granted, in Warner Brothers' defense, I have read the story that Zack Snyder was going to do for Justice League 2 and 3. Now, I've also heard that now he has alternate versions of this, so it wouldn't necessarily go the way he released. So I'm sure he would change it up a bit in case it was ever get made on HBO Max or theatrically or whatever it might have. But I will admit that from WB's side of things, where he wanted to go with Justice League 2 and 3, had a definite finality, you know, final intent to it. Like, after it was going to be like their Avengers Endgame, and that was going to be it. And it was definitely dark. It was definitely, especially in the case of Superman. But by the end of the Justice League 3, I think, you know, he'd be back to the Superman we know and love. And, you know, but it's just a direction WB decided not to go with. However, I feel like there's a lot of potential for that. So yeah, this trailer to me, I love what Zack Snyder has contributed to DC. I think it's just going to probably never be followed up on. I wish that were not true. I actually think because DC is going down this path of the multiverse. In the Flash 2022 film, he's going to, meet Michael Keaton's Batman, and, he's going to go back in time to, save his mother from dying. And when he does, it's kind of like the Flash Paradox, storyline, or Flashpoint storyline, I'm sorry. And he's going to try and, reverse all this. And by doing so, he's going to open the multiverse in multiple dimensions. So I don't understand why DC can't have their cake and eat it too and have both. Why can't they do the DCEU timeline? And why can't they break off from Zack Snyder's Justice League and let Zack Snyder finish his original vision, if nothing else for just Justice League 2 and 3, if you don't do the other films? I don't understand why you can't do both, especially on HBOMax. You could do the DCEU timeline, the way you want to do it, rebooted with new actors and stuff, and continue on that path in theaters, and let HBOMax finish Justice League's original vision. That way, fans of his can actually have the full vision in its entirety, and fans of the DCEU with the new things that WB are doing, which I am excited for, by the way. There's a lot of good things coming from DC, especially like Black Adam. You got The Flash. You've got Shazam! Fury of the Gods. You got Aquaman 2. You've got the Batman, which is set in its own world, Earth 2, instead of the Prime Earth that's set in the DCEU timeline. And of course, they're going to do Wonder Woman 3 at some point, which I know a lot of people were a little discouraged by the way Wonder Woman 1984 turned out, and there are inconsistencies in the DCEU timeline. I mean, there are certain things that don't flow from film to film very well, but it's no worse than, like, say, the X-Men films, and most people tend to love those for the most part. I mean, they have some missteps as well, but I digress. But I just feel like this trailer was, I mean, I'm glad that they're promoting Zack Snyder's trilogy on their service, but as a fan of what Zack Snyder did with the Justice League film, I would love to see more, and I would like to see where they take it. Obviously, like I said, I know the storyboards he was going to do, but it was an interesting concept, what he was going to do, and I would like to see those play out on screen. But I just feel like this is a huge missed opportunity for DC and Warner Brothers and HBOMax if they do not follow up on Snyder's vision in some degree. If nothing else, make it an animated film, or make some animated films in his universe. I mean, get Ben Affleck back to voice Batman, or Henry Cavill, or whatever. I just don't want to see DC continue to reboot after reboot after reboot, because that is what they've been doing for years, and it's driving me crazy. It's driving a lot of fans crazy. I mean, Marvel has had one direction since 2008. One direction. They've had one set timeline. Now, granted, they're going to diverge into multiverse and alternate dimensions too, starting with Doctor Strange, or WandaVision. All this stuff is going to, split as well, but it's still going to be one story. So DC, you could do these things and have multiple different, stories and different, worlds that you explore, like with the Batman, and you got the DCU over here. You can have Zack Snyder stuff over here. For whatever reason, though, they are adamant about not doing Zack Snyder, and I understand that he and the studio probably aren't getting along as they used to, and things like that. So there's a lot of backstage drama, but that's just my opinion. I really would love to see this continue one way or the other, and, I just don't see why they can't have both. Hey everybody, I hope you liked this video. Did you like what you saw here? If you did, I hope you will comment below. Let me know what you thought of whatever I discussed here today. Also, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell on the channel as well, so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content. Also, you can find me, Eric Hopkins, at EricJel on Twitter. It's at ERICJEL, Gel with the J. Also, you can find me on the 3-Star Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at 3-Star Pod, and on Twitter at 3-Star Podcast 1. We discuss all sorts of things over there, from all sorts of topics like pro wrestling, video games, movies, sports, just whatever we feel like talking about. We always try to have a good time. Me and a group of guys over there, we enjoy doing our shows weekly, and usually we'll talk about just whatever comes to our head. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, take care.